Hello, welcome back to GAPCAST, another GAP spotlight reaction regarding the gaps that are talked about by influential people around the world. My name is Debbie Foreman. I'm your host and the founder of GAPTrax, where we talk about the gaps that hinder progress, how to close those gaps, and on the reaction episodes where we really listen to what people are talking about around the world. And they talk about them, they mention them, so on and so forth. And then we do the following segment, which are the hints and tricks, the GAP tricks, to understand what frameworks are out there and approaches to be able to address them in a societal framework process where individuals can overcome these gaps and don't rely on just the philosophy of it. Okay, so I was sent another link. This is somebody I actually don't know, so my apologies. And saying that I was really going to enjoy this one. So let's find out what this is all about. And her name, maybe a lot of you do know who she is, Andrea Berchowitz. All right, let's get that up. And I was given a timestamp of about 2.5 minutes. I could already see, because of menopausal symptoms. Yeah, that's me. Let's see where this one goes.
My fascination with female leadership and the obvious gap began as a strategy consultant.
She already talks in like the first seconds, female consultant, and she's talking about gaps. She comes straight in with the gap there. All right, let's hear about it.
Working in boardrooms around the world. In over 10 years, I can count on one hand the number of senior women over 50 in executive positions that I saw. Whether it was Seattle or Dubai, Lagos, or upstate New York, women were scarce at the top. I started to look around and question the system I was in, wonder what opportunities really existed. The women at the top were exceptional. The bar seemed almost too high to reach. And so I started speaking to my friends and colleagues in their 40s and 50s.
Well, first she's talking about women leadership, and she's talking about the bar, the few that are up there, and the bar being like really exceptional. Yeah, it's hard to get to the very top, and so you really need to be able to stand out. And now she's talking to colleagues and friends in the 40s and 50s. Okay, you guys, just for context, I'm 56, closer to 57. So that's like almost 7 years ago when I hit the 50s. We're talking about almost 17 years ago when I was 40. So we've got a big time span here of what I've lived in, what she's about to approach.
They talked about things I knew, balancing a serious job, teenagers, and caring for elderly parents.
All right, halt right there. We've got like 3 hours worth of content for me, but I'm going to make it short. Wait, talking about, what was the first one she said? Go back 1 sec. Balancing a serious job. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own businesses. And if I do not work daily and balance my job, then I don't have a job. Because I am on me and other people around me, but I'm not employed. Okay. So yeah, it's a serious job. Teenagers, today, let's take a moment here. Today is my daughter's 16th birthday. So that's a teenager. All right. I got the serious job. I've got the teenager.
Teenagers, and caring for elderly parents.
My father is terminally ill. And yesterday, October 28th, this probably won't be out for a couple of weeks until we edit it, but yesterday my father was told that to be prepared to start moving into hospice. So wait, what is that? Jobs, serious jobs, balancing teenagers, taking care of elderly parents. And now how do we do it all? What else is in there? I can't wait to hear this one.
But in a few instances, close friends opened up.
Yeah, sort of. I'm going to say close friends opened up. I'm going to say that in this phase, as we transition and these demands get bigger, there are close friends that also walk away because they walk away. I've had people like that I really trusted and were close recently in the last 16 months to a year. The bigger the pressure, the harder the pressure, the more the demand. Not a good time to be a friend.
They talked about how their bodies and their minds were changing.
Oh, this is what she meant. She meant that they've been opening up. People in the same age bracket open up. Oh, yeah. Everybody in the same age bracket. Everybody that's in their menopausal 50s, taking care of teenagers, college-age students, and their aging parents and all of that. Yes, we all open up because it's the only support group that we have. It's not addressed. It's a societal taboo.
Impact of menopause on many aspects of their lives, including work.
Yes.
It was at that point that I realized if I wanted to make a difference to women in the workplace so we can all work as long as we want to, It was to improve menopause care.
It's a really important issue. And I don't know, I haven't heard this, I haven't seen this, so I don't know where she's about to go. But what I am going to say is we talk a lot about transitioning children into puberty and women when they get their first period and how you're going to do it and cramps and so on and so forth and not to get pregnant and all that. Very little is addressed on how to keep your life going, especially at the same pace when you go into menopause, because it's a huge transition. Oh, you're going to start getting your period. That's the least of it. There's all sorts. Me personally, I've never had a hot flash, ever, never. Insomnia, yeah, it's like sleeping is the hardest thing in the world. And I try, and because you're tired, you try to sleep, but you can't. And that's a hard one, and your muscle and all that kind of stuff, and you gain weight, things like that.
I believe the workplace can play a major role in improving the experience for women coping with menopausal symptoms. And it might sound cliche, but it does start with awareness.
Well, yeah, it does. It's not even cliche. It does start with awareness, and all gaps that we address. To address gaps, we start with awareness. So when we move from this segment, when I close out this segment for this reaction, we're going to move over to the hints and tricks segment. Then I'm going to show you the framework that we use. It addresses and starts with the awareness. Awareness, preparedness, assessment, evidence. The 4 quadrants there. We're going to walk through that, and I'm going to bring that one up to show because she's absolutely right.
And then it means changing the physical setup of our offices, resetting expectations.
Now I get it why this was sent to me. I mean, yeah, I'm literally moving in 4 days to a new office setup. So the setup is adjusted to the fact that I don't sleep a lot and I get headaches and lights and do recording. To the fact that I've got constant pain in my back and my hip, so I need to be able to move. So those office setups are really important. Yes, and we need to be closer to the restrooms.
Around work culture and updating healthcare policies. So first, awareness.
Awareness.
Since we learn virtually nothing about menopause in the news, in pop culture, it's impossible to expect that even the most well-intentioned manager would have a clue how to be supportive.
I agree. And my next question is, I'm just throwing it out there. How many well-intentioned HR managers or managers are there to deal with aging women that have the power to lead? Good question.
So many societies place so much pressure on women to appear young and happy and vibrant all of the time.
Yes.
All that effort put towards pretending that you're not going through a natural process of aging is a complete waste of time.
And she's right. When I say that's another gap, time, waste of time. When you're able to adapt somebody's biological scenario, especially in a transitional process, it's going to last for a long time, and their brains are adept to being able to work, because with all of the knowledge that's acquired as we get older, our brains and our skills allow us to do in 1/10 of the time that, people 30 years younger take to do or to think or be able to. So we're able to produce more at a higher level, but our bodies need to be able to find that comfort zone to be able to correspond to the environment. And yes, she's right. And it's a challenge. And it makes no sense because it's just the easiest thing to adapt to.
Meanwhile, a day in the life of a peri or postmenopausal woman could be running to the bathroom to wait out a hot flush, looking for paper towels for perspiration that came out of nowhere when everyone else was freezing, skipping a meeting or sending someone else because a wave of anxiety made you feel like you couldn't cope, or skipping a business trip altogether because heavy periods made leaving home virtually impossible.
I had that problem before I went into menopause, the heavy periods. Especially towards the end, there were a couple of times where I just couldn't leave the house. You can't leave the house. And because that was I went in menopause almost 7 years ago. It was before COVID when we didn't have as much of the hybrid format. Today with the hybrid format, it's much easier.
One way to raise awareness is to bring the discussion right into the workplace. Many companies already offer training programs on things like diversity and inclusion, anti-harassment, conversations on mental health or parental leave. Let's normalize conversation on menopause.
All right. I had no idea. I've never met Andrea Berchowitz before. Andrea, I'm a fan. And here's the thing. I just restructured my keynote called Shattering the Gap Taboo for Bold, Bankable Growth. You know what? I'm not going to even hint into it too much, but when we talk about taboos, one of the taboos I bring up is I am a middle-aged menopausal woman, head of household, caring for an aging father, and Jewish. Boy, put taboo into that. How do we address that for bold bankable growth? So what I'm going to do is I'm about to click off here so we can flip into the next segment, which is where I'm going to be showing a little bit about, I want to talk about the awareness, what she's talking about, and the framework, because this is a big gap and it's a silly gap and it's an easy gap and it's a very uncostly gap to close. It just takes goodwill. And like she said, the cliche, awareness. It takes more than awareness. You go from awareness to preparedness, then assess it, and then the evidence. And in that cycle, an entire organization can adapt to this very quickly. Thank you very much, Andrea, for sharing this with us. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to start following you as of today. And you guys don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you thought of this. How many of you are in the same boat as me? I'm curious to know also. All right, see ya on the next episode where we address the framework for this. Take care. I fucked up. I fucked up. I fucked up. I fucked up.
Because you wanted to have a single screen?
Yeah, well, I'll just wrap that up right now here. But we're still on single screen, right? I'm a huge fan of Andrea. I'm not sure if you say Andrea or Andrea. Anyways, Andrea. I didn't know who you were before. Just found out. You hit the nail on the head. I'm going to delve into your content, and I'm curious to know who else out there is in this boat. The big gap taboo boat. The one. How many women out there, over 50, menopausal, executives, managers, leading your company, taking care of your household? How many of you are single moms like me? Head of household, don't have child support, father isn't present. How many of you are taking care of ailing elderly parents? We're a big category, and we're a productive category, and we are a category when we address the gap taboo. To shatter that gap taboo, we create bold bankable growth, not just for ourselves, but because we're able to create a stronger economy for those around us. So go on over to the next segment where we're going to talk about the framework. It's a real clear framework that I'm going to be showing for this to really be able to shine a light on it, because it's not hard. It's not a hard solution. But remember, simple doesn't always equate to easy, because you got to deal with people's mindsets. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you on the corresponding GAPTrax segment addressing this framework.